Hello and welcome to our coverage here from Five Flags Speedway in Pensacola, Florida. Alan Dietz here with you along with Adam Mackey. Great day for racing, great day for qualifying. Of course, our coverage here on Racing America presented by our friends at Hooters. Quick look at the weather here this afternoon. 66 degrees, overcast winds out of the east at 10 miles per hour. And Adam, we've watched some practice the last, day and a half or so. I think we learned a few things. I think we're going to learn even more in this practice session coming up here, the last prior to the Snowball Derby qualifying tonight.
Yeah, several hours of practice taking place yesterday for the Thursday morning and afternoon session of this long week here at Pensacola, Florida's Five Flags Speedway. Important final rounds of qualifying coming up for the super late models and the pro late models. The super late models, of course, tonight at 6 o'clock Central Time, as you mentioned. The all-important qualifying, maybe the most dramatic part of Snowball Derby week when we try to lock in 30 drivers into Sunday's starting field.
Well, you know, we talked to Noah Gregson Tuesday night over at the Hooters at Pensacola Beach. This is a guy that won 8 NASCAR Xfinity Series races this year and almost won the championship. And he said without a doubt the most nerve-wracking thing that he goes through is when he comes here to compete in the Snowball Derby. He won it in 2018, but I don't think any matter of experience here can help you as far as controlling those nerves whenever it comes time to qualify tonight at 6 p.m. Central Time.
And Noah Gregson, despite his accolades with winning a Winchester 400, with winning an All-America or winning a Snowball Derby, a driver like Gregson doesn't mean he's going to qualify into that top 30 coming up tonight at 6 o'clock. It's going to be tough. He will go late during the qualifying run tonight. We had the qualifying draw presented by War Shocks just a couple nights ago here on Racing America and on the main stage, the infield there. And a lot of the drivers were looking for right in the middle. They didn't want to go early in qualifying. They really didn't want to be late. They want to be kind of right in the middle of that qualifying session that starts tonight at 6 p.m.
Now, just finishing up on the track prior to us coming on air now, the Mods of Mayhem took to the Speedway. Cody Stickler was the fastest with a lap of 17.394 seconds. He had that big win, Winchester 400 weekend here on Racing America. Stephen Nassy, he'll be doing triple duty in the pro late model and the super late model. Derek Griffin, Jeff Letson, and Jackson Bishop, the top 5. You know, we're happy to provide you this sneak peek into some of the events here at Five Flags Speedway during Snowball Derby weekend. The weekend's main events are available on a pay-per-view basis at racingamerica.com. In order to watch the Snowflake 100 and the Snowball Derby, log on to racingamerica.com and purchase your pay-per-view today.
Saw briefly there the Derek Thorne 43 cars, definitely a favorite coming into this weekend. Again, fast in yesterday's practice. The merge practice sessions, Derek Thorne was on top of the board. He has set 3 straight pole qualifying times at the Snowball Derby. We'll be looking for his 4th in a row tonight, but he's yet to win the Derby. Can he do that this Sunday? And there's Bubba Pollard, the 26 car. Different paint scheme for him this weekend, a sharp ride. You see Bubba there walking to the right of the car, shaking some hands, and he's going to try to get into victory lane for a Snowball Derby for the first time.
You know, speaking of a good-looking car, don't forget our friends at Horvath Designs, the best appearing car yearly here for the Snowball Derby and the Snowflake 100 cars. You'll see the nominees on racingamerica.com and those winners being presented here tomorrow and on Sunday. And there are a lot of good candidates. That right there is a good candidate. Stephen Nassy came close to winning back in 2019 but couldn't get through that tech shed. Jess Ballard's sitting with us. She always smiles a little bit when we say that because Travis Braden ended up being the winner, and she put the name on the Snowball Derby trophy. But, you know, that's the thing. We're going to get the checkered flag Sunday afternoon, but our coverage won't end here on Racing America because until they get cleared by that tech shed, the winner is not official, and we plan on staying on with you until we get a winner here this year.
Super late model cars getting ready to roll to the track for a final round 1-hour practice session that will take us up until 2 o'clock Central Time. Then, of course, the Snowflake cars, the pro late models, will come out for an hour session to take us up until 3 o'clock Central Time here today. But the super late models yesterday, I mentioned Derek Thorne was the fastest in the 43 car with a 16.460. Ryan Luza in a super late model, number 18 car. Campy Racing Ride, second quick. Austin Nason, third fast yesterday. Eric Jones, fourth. And Preston Peltier, fifth. Really not much of a surprise in that top 5. Maybe Luza because he hasn't run a lot of super late model action. But definitely some fast race cars, some names we're used to seeing toward the top.
Well, when we come back, we are going to see cars on track here this afternoon on Racing America. Stick around. Our coverage just beginning here. We'll be back with more after this.
Get up on your feet, race fans.
Can you believe it? Right now, racing, in my opinion, is as healthy as it's been in the last 15 to 20 years.
Just wanted to make that first lap.
Go!
5-star bodies, the most advanced bodies on the market, aerodynamically engineered, manufactured from the highest grade and lightest weight materials, tested tough for optimum performance. The highest quality and most durable products you'll find anywhere. Our products help racers around the world reach victory lane. Winning never looked so good. Faster, lighter, stronger, better. 5-star.
Welcome to the new home for race fans, Racing America. Live short track racing. Exclusive team content.
Any NASCAR fan is really a short track fan at heart.
Behind the scenes access. From grassroots to NASCAR, join us at the home for race fans everywhere. Racing America, it's in our DNA.
Communication is key in the racing world. When it comes to at-the-track communications, there is only one place to call. Racing Electronics is the #1 source for professional race communications worldwide. Over 20 years in the business proves their dedication to the sport. With every driver and crew communication, two-way radios and headsets, scanners and more, Racing Electronics is a one-stop communication source for all your motorsports needs. Before the green flag flies, make sure you have all your team communication gear from Racing Electronics. Stop by and see a Racing Electronics representative at the track near you. Visit their showroom in Concord, North Carolina, or order online at racingelectronics.com.
The 55th Annual Snowball Derby at Five Flags Speedway. It's the pavement every driver wants to race. 300 laps. Only one driver can take home the title. Don't miss your chance to watch history. Only on Racing America and racingamerica.com.
Welcome back to Five Flags Speedway in Pensacola, Florida. It's for Racing America's continuing coverage of the 55th Annual Snowball Derby. Alan Dietz and Adam Mackey here with you. And one of the cars that is always fast here in the state of Florida, but over on the other side of the state, as Brad May and the R.K. Edwards Incorporated machine, many-time track champion at New Smyrna. But, I was surprised to see he's only ran, as far as actually started, one Snowball Derby and finished 20th.
We haven't seen him run here at Pensacola's Five Flag Speedway very often. Kind of stays down there in that New Smyrna Speedway area where he's so successful. But good to see Brad May, one of the veterans that we see quite a bit during the winter months, getting a chance to race here for the Snowball Derby. There's the 32, Carson Quapple, one of the drivers making his first appearance at Five Flag Speedway for the Snowball Derby. So Quapple, young driver, second in this practice session. We've had 9 drivers come out. Actually, a few more than that. We've had 13 now come onto the raceway to take times in this session.
That's Zach Telford there in that car number 57, one of many rookies this year going for that big $10,000 bonus for the top rookie finisher, making the trip from Middleton, Idaho, and the James Hardy Chevrolet. He was the Spears SRL Southwest Rookie of the Year this year, and a guy that I've watched race many times over the years and many times here on Racing America. The Clark Scrap Metal Chevrolet out of Farmingdale, Maine for Johnny Clark, the 7-time past North Series champion, and he's got one of those holiday-themed paint schemes that'll go for the Horvath Design's Best Appearing Car Award, I'm sure.
And there's another one, Blaine Rocha with the Christmas scheme, very festive for the 98 of Blaine Rocha, currently 5th of the drivers that have been on track so far early on in this hour-long session for the super late models of the Snowball Derby presented by Hooters. And they're qualifying tonight, 6 o'clock, and it's looking at that top 30. That's what we look at. If you're solidly into the top 30, when we look at all of the practice times this week so far, you feel a little more comfortable than the guys that are in the 45 range of our starting field of around 55 cars. You get into that 45 range, you can't get any higher, you're in for some trouble possibly tonight for qualifying.
Yep, and that leads to the last chance race tomorrow, which you'll see here on Racing America. We had a look at Eric Jones there in the car number 4. This is the car number 2. We thought this was going to be Williams Stawallich, and it was announced late last week. Young Gio Ruggiero is going to be behind the wheel. An amazing opportunity for this young driver to get behind the wheel of the Donnie Wilson Motorsports car, and a tough break for Stawallich, who sustained a concussion in that accident late in the All-American 400 at Nashville.
Wanted to take a little more time to recover from that. Ruggiero putting his car 7th right now in practice. Harold Crooms in the 32, a veteran driver, making the trip to the Snowball Derby again.
Harold Crooms ran a lot of Florida modifieds in the early 2000s and has been running super late models in recent years.
Who's this guy?
I don't know. Have you ever
I think
seen
he's
it?
got a shot. Ty Majeski, the 91 car, a winner of the Snowball Derby, and could have several Snowball Derby wins. Just had some bad luck with pit stops years ago when they had to have the live pit stops. The fast pit crews would be brought in by many of the teams, and that didn't play in his favor. Now, Ty Majeski, so fast over the last several years here at the Snowball Derby, back on track again. Right now, Majeski was 3rd there after that lap.
Yeah, right now, Stephen Nancy and Johnny Clark, the 2 fastest, as we look at Casey Roderick here in the car number 25. Looks to have 2 strong mounts this weekend here for the Snowball Derby and the Snowflake 100. RPM Trailer Sales, Phoenix Construction's the sponsors on this car. Of course, the driver from Georgia, now living in Pulaski, Mississippi. And this is a paint scheme very familiar to the fans here at Five Flags Speedway. Jeff Purvis, that was a winning paint scheme for him back in 1995 for this same team that now Jake Finch drives for.
Made his first Snowball Derby start a year ago, did Jake, the 17-year-old. As a 16-year-old a year ago, finished 18th in his first Snowball Derby.
Yeah, he's a former Outlaws champion here at Five Flags Speedway. Going pretty well right now. He's 6th quick.
Sammy Smith. Well, the last couple of years it's been for him, not only in super late model competition, but ARCA, picking up wins and championships. Sammy Smith in car number 22. This car has been in victory lane as a Snowball Derby winner in the past. And that was a year ago. Chandler Smith was behind the wheel. But that car has been totally refurbished, front clip, rear clip, basically just the center section is the same as it was a year ago.
You're watching this broadcast on Racing America, and if you're joining us for the first time, there's a lot more to see. Log on to racingamerica.com to get all your favorite racing news, grassroots live streams from across the country, and behind-the-scenes NASCAR Cup Team content. Log on and join our community today.
Jake Garcia, the 35 ride, former runner-up in the Snowball Derby, finished second back in 2019, has made 3 starts in this race, 17 years old. Jake Garcia is still so young, but so much experience now, starting to build up for Jake Garcia.
How about this? Young Connor Jones going up to the top of the board now with a lap of 5.45 seconds. Stephen Nasse now second quick. Johnny Clark, Ty Majeski, and Blaine Rocha, the top 5 of 28 cars that have now taken time.
18 of Ryan Luza. This car was fast yesterday. Luza was second quick overall practice times from all of the sessions that were put together yesterday. Can Luza match that type of effort today? Right now he's 7th. Does he do better on this lap? A little bit of a wiggle as he comes to the line, and Luza,
that's a pretty good
6
lap.
quick.
You know, for Ryan Luza, he got named to drive this car late. He won the Allen Turner Pro Late Model Championship back in 2015 and really has not raced a lot. And I was talking to someone familiar and close to him as we look at Albert Francis right now, and they said this is a one-shot deal for Ryan, and he knows it. And, you know, if there's not enough pressure as it is, you add that kind of pressure that it could lead to something and an even bigger opportunity.
Albert Francis, a former champion at Jennerstown Speedway. He's another one of our young stars that's in the field. He's had some bad luck, had issues with brakes a week ago at 417. Had the crash at Winchester during the 400 that took him out of contention. But right there's Albert Francis in the 5. Another opportunity to drive the Richie Waters machine. Francis just 19 years of age.
Here's the veteran out of Manhattan, Illinois, Boris Jurkovic, of course, living in Florida now. Reliable Recovery Services is a sponsor on his Toyota. He is one of those drivers looking for the Triple Crown. He won the Winchester 400 in 2011, All-American 400 in 2006. Best finish here at the Snowball, a 7th back in 2011. And he's still strong, still competitive, coming back after that broken leg last year at Berlin.
There's the 26 car. Josh Berry, 32 years of age. Berry making his second attempt at the Snowball Derby, finished 29th back in 2019. A wiggle coming off of turn 4 as Josh Berry makes his run during final practice for the Snowball Derby presented by Hooters.
Finished 4th in NASCAR Xfinity Series points this year with 3 wins, and coming off a huge late model stock win last weekend in North Carolina up at Southern National. Took home $50,000. You imagine what a couple of weeks it could be if he could win the Snowball Derby as well.
Third fast right now in this session, only behind Connor Jones and Stephen Nasse. Josh Berry is 3rd. Johnny Clark is 4th. Ty Majeski rounding out the top 5. Then is Blaine Rocha in 6th. 7th is Ryan Luza. 8th is Eric Jones. 9th, Jake Finch. And Gio Ruggiero rounds out the top 10. Michael Hines, number 69 on track.
Yeah, Michael, we've seen him race the super late model quite a bit more in 2022. Hind Racing and Mike Scott Plumbing, the sponsors on his Toyota from Hernando, Florida. Finished 6th in Southern Super Series points this year. Second attempt at the Snowball Derby. Didn't make that race last year in his first attempt. And here's a local favorite, Smith Scrap Metal Machine of Mobile, Alabama's Dustin Smith.
Smith has made 1 attempt to qualify into the Derby. He did not qualify in, so he's trying to make his first Snowball Derby start this weekend. He finished 3rd in the 2018 Show Me the Money standings. He's made some attempts as well here during the Snowflake and competed in that pro late model race on Saturday night. He's trying to do double duty. This guy has been real fast in his super late model anywhere he shows up.
Well, the last time many of you might have watched was the All-American 400, and you saw Austin Nason come very close winning the All-American 400. Got involved in that accident that also took Williams from Wallach out. But he has been very impressive. Finished 6th in ARCA Midwest Tour points this year. Had a win at Grundy County. Still looking for a strong run in the Derby, though his best finish only a 36 back in 2018.
2012 NASCAR Cup Series champion Brad Keselowski on track in the 6, trying to make the Snowball Derby start, which is his debut here for the Derby.
He would be one of those rookie eligible.
Rookie Brad Keselowski.
With a big bonus. Freight Options, the sponsors on his Ford.
He was just inside the top 30 in overall practice times yesterday, 28th quick.
And this is a Fury Racing house car. Tony Eury Jr., Jeff Fultz, Tony Eury Sr. I mean, there are some heavyweights here trying to get Brad Keselowski up to speed. And, you know, he's one of those guys that could be borderline into making it in on speed, but I think he'll race very well. And I think this driver could be in the same situation. That's Noah Gragson, the 2018 winner of the Snowball Derby.
19th fast on the chart right now was Noah Gragson the last time he went by the line. Gragson yesterday was outside of the top 30, 37th quick, so you know the team's doing all they can as well as Noah to get him into the field tonight.
What a year he had this year. Second NASCAR Xfinity Series points with 8 wins. Graduating up to the Cup Series in 2023. Derek Griffith on track now here in the Spot On Toyota from Hudson, New Hampshire. 2021 past national champion. And his best finish, a 9th in the Snowball Derby a couple of years ago.
Tyler Tanner, the 65 car, looking to make his Derby debut. One of the new names on our entry list for the weekend from Mooresville, North Carolina, 31-year-old driver. Running a Hamke chassis.
You know, he made the move over from Washington, his home state of Washington State, a former champion at Evergreen Speedway there. He works for Donnie Wilson Motorsports, and he was very strong. I think it was the first Blizzard Series race this year, and he was very strong at North Wilkesboro as well, so I wouldn't be surprised if Tyler Tanner could get locked into the top 30 tonight.
There's a guy who should lock into the top 30. Came close to winning back-to-back All-American 400s at Nashville, but ended up in that late race crash with a couple laps to go. Matt Craig in the 54.
CNC Boiler Sales and Service, longtime sponsor on this Chevrolet out of Kannapolis, North Carolina. A 3-time Pass South champion, 2-time Car Super Late Model champion. And he's traveled more in recent years and shown he can be just as strong outside of the Carolinas, as we see another young driver who kind of stepped away from his roots this year in Wisconsin to race in the Carolinas.
Another driver who was fast at the All-American 400, Luke Fenhaus, in the 4-car. Fenhaus, young driver, he's 18 years of age, and he's on track here at the Snowball Derby, looking to turn some more heads this weekend. He's made an SRX start. What an impressive run he had in that SRX race a year ago.
And, you know, I'm not so sure, had they not made that mistake at the All-American where they didn't pit where everybody else did, he lost, I mean, literally 30 spots probably in track position and fought back. But, you know, I think had he been able to stay it there through the entire race, he had a good shot of maybe winning.
I think you're absolutely right. Jacob Gomes in the 16, coming from California to race with us, the 29-year-old, has made 2 attempts to qualify into the Snowball Derby. He's yet to start the Snowball Derby. Shows how tough it is to get in to this illustrious race coming up this Sunday.
Here's the U.S. Tank Chevrolet from Columbia, Tennessee for Michael House, 2-time track champion at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. This is his 4th attempt to make the Snowball Derby, and I think perhaps his best. He was strong here yesterday in practice. We'll see what kind of lap he lays down. I think next time we'll have an indication with a little bit of heat in those tires of what this one car's got.
Yeah, he was top 10 yesterday in the overall practice times. So Michael House in the number 1 car, champion from Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway, really sideways in turn for that time. Had to slow down that lap a little bit. 24th quick right now.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be happy with that. But, you know, it's one of those deals where you make an adjustment and you see it didn't work. You go in, you change things back the way they were, or make an adjustment the other way and see how it works. You know, if you like what you're seeing here, you can check out our 24-hour streaming channel. It's on connected TVs like LG and Vizio, and streaming apps like Tubi and Zumo, with over 15 hours of live racing per week and original content for the short track and NASCAR racing communities. Racing America TV is your racing fix at home 24/7 on your television, and you see all those connected devices down at the bottom of the screen. I have LG TV, and it's very nice watching Racing America on those channels.
We've seen Hunter Robbins, we've seen Jesse Love, two of the favorites for this weekend. Now we see one of the Van Meter cars, the number 23 of Billy Van Meter, on the racetrack.
Yes, ARCA CRA this year were all Van Meters. They swept the top 2 spots in the points for the ARCA CRA Super Series. Van Meter was the champion. Billy, who we just saw, he finished second. This is the 5 of, I had to do a double take. Whenever I saw this car, for a minute, you think it's Paul Schaefer Jr.
Well, that's the scheme.
Exactly, but it's actually Casey Johnson.
And there's Jesse Love backing it down and taking it to the pits. Jesse Love, a little bit of a different scheme for him, one that I do like this weekend, very sharp.
I think that could be another one of the Horvath Designs top contenders for best appearing car. On track now, the Race Cow State Line Speedway Chevrolet from Deer Park, Washington, of Hayden Plybon. Finished second Northwest Super Late Model points, which you saw right here on Racing America. Had a win at Hermiston Raceway in Oregon, and he was a top contender in the Kawicki Driver Development Program, which you'll be able to see the Kawicki Driver Development Banquet here in a couple of weeks. That's going to be a great time as they crown the KDDP champion, Dylan Zampa.
Plybon yesterday was 40th in overall speeds. 30 is the number we're targeting for tonight's qualifying runs at 6 p.m. Central Time here on Racing America. Coverage presented by Hooters, the Snowball Derby. Presented by Hooters. There is Hunter Plybon trying to get some more laps around this Five Flags Speedway surface.
Go back now through the top 10 again. Right now, Connor Jones, maybe a little bit of a surprise. Quickest with a lap of 16.545 seconds. Stephen Nassy second, quick, followed by Josh Berry. Johnny Clark, I'd say he's very happy with his time right now. Ty Majeski fifth. Blaine Rocha is sixth, quick. Noah Gregson seventh. That's a good pickup from him. Ryan Luza eighth. Eric Jones in ninth. And Austin Nason right now, your top 10.
Tyler Tanner running 11th currently. Hunter Robbins, Daniel Dye, Luke Finhouse, Jake Finch rounding out the top 15. And rounding out the top 20, Gio Ruggiero, Derek Griffith, Carson Quapple, Corey Heim, and Michael Hind.
Well, right now the track is quiet as they clear the gates. That'll give us a chance to take a break, and we'll be back with more Snowball Derby qualifying practice after this.
HMS Motorsport is the leader in motorsport safety and the exclusive importer for Schroth belts and Schubert helmets. When risk is around every corner, let our experts help you select the best harness belts, head restraints, helmets, and racing attire for your type of racing. Don't make safety an afterthought. We have 25 years of experience of educating our customers on all aspects of driver safety and providing the most advanced driver safety products to NASCAR, IndyCar, sprint cars, and sport cars. Visit our stores in Mooresville, North Carolina, or Danvers, Massachusetts, or check us out online at hmsmotorsport.com to learn the details of our products and, of course, order online.
Hooters and racing go together like killer wings and ice-cold beer. Racing has been at the core of Hooters' DNA from the beginning. Whether it's backing the best drivers or serving up the best food on race day, race fans know Hooters is the real deal. Big screens, great food, good times. Hooters, the official home of race fans.
Women owned and manufactured in South Carolina. PFC Brakes is the #1 choice for motorsports, fleets, auto manufacturers, and first responders. PFC delivers the best brakes on the market, guaranteed to outlast and outperform the competition. If you're looking to win at the track or reduce downtime for your fleet, or just need more stopping power when towing your boat or trailer, look no further than PFC Brakes. Visit us at pfcbrakes.com to find your local PFC Brakes distributor today. PFC Brakes are bred to win, from the track to the job site. No compromises.
Here at Five Flags Speedway in Pensacola, Florida. You haven't missed anything as these Snowball Derby cars get ready to head back on track. At the top of the hour, 2 p.m. Central Time, we'll see the Pro Late models for the Snowflake 100 as they take to the racetrack. They'll qualify tomorrow, and that gives us a chance to talk about some of our coverage here over the next couple of days. You and I will be joined by MRN Radio's Dave Moody for the call tomorrow and on Sunday. Of course, we'll have as we see a Christmas tree here.
Hey, the tree is back up. I believe the wind got to it earlier, and it fell over. But it looks good. It's safe.
Yeah, I'd say it's got a little weight on it now. I wonder if those ornaments that came from the board.
I'm pretty sure that is one of them right there.
I think it is, too.
The second one from the top.
But we're going to have a bull ring today. Our coverage will end here at 3 o'clock Central Time. Then at 5 o'clock Central Time, we'll come back with the bull ring. Jess Ballard going to be joined by several guests, including Dave Moody. 6 o'clock Central Time, you and I will be back here for Snowball Derby qualifying, see who gets the pole, see who makes it in, see who doesn't make it in. And then we'll turn it back over to the voices here at Five Flags Speedway, Robbie Harvey and Bill Roth, as they'll have the call for the Mods of Mayhem 75 lapper. And I think that's going to be an excellent race tonight.
It is a big field of cars for the modifieds. I believe over 30 on hand. They always put on a great show for Snowball Derby weekend. You know, we've been talking about that top 30, the drivers that are going to maybe struggle to get into the top 30 when it comes time for qualifying tonight. Last night, yesterday's practice times, Augie Grill was right on the bubble, 30th. You look behind him, there was Josh Berry, there was Derek Kraus, Carson Quapple, some of the big names. Noah Gregson yesterday was 37th in overall speed. Derek Griffith was 39th. Now, strategy, Bubba Pollard was 42nd. Strategy yesterday, though, could adjust that. They may not have been making qualifying runs yesterday, saving that for today. But when we look at all of these times combined from yesterday and today, before we qualify tonight at 6, that's where we're going to have a better feel for who's really struggling for times.
Well, the track's hot again, and when you look at, the drivers who have made time here in practice this afternoon, I don't think I see anybody in the top 30 that has made more than about 3 laps. Then you get back to Augie Grill, Billy Van Meter, George Gorham, guys like that who've made at least 10 lap runs. Is now Carson Quapple back on track here for the second time in this happy hour practice for qualifying.
Carson Quapple looking to show some speed, get her fine-tuned for today's qualifying run.
And what a bright future he has. And,
it seems like he's been racing for a while, but he's still a teenage driver.
He has. I mean, I remember calling races at the Concord Speedway quarter mile when he was running Bandoleros, and then he, went over and ran at Millbridge. And the thing that I've told him, now that these kids are young enough to be my children, is I'm like, just stay the path. And I think that for him might be a little bit easier than other kids because, of course, his dad, Travis Quapple, he's done it. Dale Earnhardt Jr., his car owner with the late model stock, he's done it. And I think that's why things bode so well for Carson Quapple here down the line.
Harold Crooms, the 32 car, currently 40th in overall speeds for this practice. Connor Jones, the youngster, racing in both races this weekend, is fastest right now.
That kind of caught me by surprise. I don't know about you.
He's pretty talented.
Well,
he shows some speed.
And who's his teammate?
Oh, gosh. Bring it up. Let's go. I was down there talking to him.
Oh, come on. Derek Thorne.
Well, yeah, Derek Thorne is. That's absolutely right, because They were actually communicating when I was down there talking to them yesterday in the tech line. There's Plybon. Actually, that would have been Wednesday. This week is all kind of running together at this point.
It is. It's crazy. I didn't realize yesterday till about 5 o'clock in the afternoon that it was the first day of December.
Yeah, December is upon us. There's the 18 ride.
And, you know, every time we came here, well, let's talk about the domino effect that kind of happened here. William Sawalich gets hurt. Coming to this weekend, we thought Gio Ruggiero was going to be in this car. He goes over to Donnie Wilson Motorsports. That opens up this car for Ryan Luza. And then Casey Roderick had opened up the Pro Late model for him. And a lot of shifting, more so than what we're used to. Well, and actually, Chandler Smith was going to drive that car too. So it's just kind of all over the place.
There were some dominoes there leading up into this weekend. There's Jeremy Doss. Doss racing the 44 again for the Derby, and for the Flake, his familiar number 75. He'll be behind the wheel, coming from California.
That's a team effort with Bob Lyon. Alliance Rental Solutions, the sponsor on his Toyota from Upper Lake, California. 2018 Spears SRL champion. He's finished second in Spears SRL Southwest points this year, but he had 3 wins. This is a guy who ran really well in the Blizzard races this year, about to head out on track. That's Alabama's John Boland. He ended up finishing 8th in Blizzard Series points this year, but had some really good runs in the first couple of Blizzard races, then dropped off just a little bit after that.
And kind of a delayed reaction to the go sign there.
Yeah, I hope his right foot's a little quicker.
We'll see what John Boland can do here. As Boland's on track, he's racing in the Pro Lates and the Super Late models this weekend. He's hoping to run 400 laps of action Saturday and Sunday.
See, that's why he's a circle track guy and not a drag racer.
That would be bad reaction time. Most likely letting the car get warmed up a little bit before it hits the track and getting a clear racetrack. He's pretty fortunate right here. He can put together a qualifying run with no other cars on track.
See, I had this impression of you before I met you a few years ago. You were a really straight-laced, buttoned-up guy. And then once I got to know you, I was like, man, folks might not know it that don't know you that are watching these telecasts, but you're a pretty funny guy. You had me crying up here last night, by the way.
John Boland in the 2 car. I don't know what you're talking about, Alan.
Well, I think you'll ease one in there here in a little bit, and I'll probably have to turn the microphone off for a lap or 2.
Boland crosses the stripe. His Pro Late model car looks very much identical to that one. 15 is the number he is locked in right now. 15th quick.
Hey, folks, tweeting their seat. This is at Super Late Model Rank. Dear boss, I promise that I'm working. Really. More getting done over here than you could possibly imagine. Little World Cup, little Snowball Derby coverage. That's what we want to do. You know, use hashtag Snowball Derby throughout the weekend. Tweet your seat. Let us know where you're watching from. And we just might mention you on the air, especially when nothing's going on.
This car is a plain car, but is very sharp, especially under sunlight. Those decals, the blue, sparkle in the sunlight and sparkle as the wheels do. Different driver behind the wheel of this ride.
Yes, this is the Cook Electrical Toyota for this year's Camping World Truck Series Rookie of the Year, Corey Heim. He was in Nashville last night accepting his Truck Series Rookie of the Year award. Had a couple of wins in the Truck Series, and seems like he always runs well here in the Derby. You know, he came out, he finished ninth a couple of years ago, and this may be the guy, though, that, well, I think everybody's going to be watching this car. I think Derek Thorne a few years ago could come in here and folks said, oh, he's good out west, but how's he going to be against some real competition?
We're probably getting ready to see fast time here.
And his teammate right now does have the time to beat. And I think, you know, Derek Thorne, I think he showed everybody, I would say over the last decade, maybe the top super late model driver in the country.
Oh, he got free down there in the middle of 3 and 4, lost a little bit of traction. Just the slight wiggle's going to slow that lap down. That was probably the lap he was looking for to move to the top of the chart. It was his second lap at speed during this practice session, so Jones remains on top. We'll see how he handles 3 and 4 this time.
Yeah, that lap, Derek Thorne was 11th quick. Pepper Jack Kennels in the Tool Shack sponsoring him. And he'll stay 11th quick.
A little bit of a surprise there, but car got free on him down in 3 and 4, washed sideways, kind of dirt tracked it through the corner.
Well, knowing how good Derek and that team is, I wouldn't be surprised that he said, put just a real junk setup in there and let me see how fast I can go. And then tonight we'll put the one that we know works in and probably show everybody just how fast it'll go.
Saw Jake Garcia briefly. Here comes Brad Keselowski back onto the raceway. We've seen him already during this practice session. Keselowski currently 32nd quick in this session.
Adam, why don't you read this one? I'll sound silly reading it.
Don't forget to join Alan Dietz, because if he were to read it, he would have said, don't forget to join Alan Dietz.
Yeah, third person.
And Jess Ballard every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on the Facebook and Twitter pages. We talk to all of the top newsmakers in short track racing, and this week we'll have the Snowball Derby winner and recap all of the action from here at Five Flags Speedway. That's the Bull Ring, available on Facebook, Twitter, RacingAmerica.tv, and on select connected devices.
That was really well read, and it was really well written.
Thank you.
Yeah. You didn't write it, though.
I didn't write it.
Okay.
Somebody typed it. Johnny Clark, a driver who is very fast today. 4th quick of the drivers that have been on track so far. Clark coming from the Northeast. 48 drivers have been on track, and Johnny Clark is 4th. That's pretty good.
Yep, 2020 Oxford 250 winner, and he came very close to becoming a 2-time Oxford 250 winner. I said 2020. I think he actually won it back in, no, it was 2020. It was the COVID year.
Connor O'Kresick racing both races this weekend if he can qualify in. O'Kresick in car 22. You know, we haven't seen him race a whole lot as of late. Still a young driver.
He has been concentrating on his studies in college this year, and I think we'll see him back more, maybe not necessarily next year, but once he gets college and gets his studies situated, then I think we will see him back some more.
Working with the Bragg racing teams this weekend. They hope to have something to brag about this weekend, but right now slow. One of the slower competitors in this Snowball Derby practice.
Eric Jones back on track now, the 2-time Snowball Derby winner, 3-time NASCAR Cup Series win, and it was so good to see how well that Focus Factor machine for Richard Petty and the folks at GMS ran in 2022. He got that big win at the Southern 500. And I think he and his new teammate Noah Gragson, I think that could be a very surprising, very good combo as we see Gragson on track right behind him. Whoa. Look who's P1, by the way.
Eric Jones has moved to the top of the board on his qualifying run, a 16.410 for his mock qualifying effort. That's, wow, about a 10.5 quicker than Connor Jones in second.
And Noah Gragson, we talked about, this team struggled a little bit yesterday, was not able to get into the top 30, actually. Right now, he's 8th quick. So Noah Gragson showing some speed in that Casey Jones racing car. Heard from our friend from out west, Jeremy Anders. Of course, you've heard him on our Racing America coverage this year. Says working on Wenatchee Valley Super Oval schedule and listening to boring Adam Mackey.
Yeah, the Van Meter back out in car 23. Billy Van Meter and Eddie Van Meter both with entries scheduled to race this weekend. And these are very good paint schemes for the Snowball Derby.
Yep, Horvath Designs best appearing car, and I would say that this is going to be another one. Stephen Nassy, and what an opportunity for him. He could become the first driver to ever sweep the Crown Jewels, 3 of the Crown Jewels, the Winchester 400, the All-American 400, and the Snowball Derby in the same year. Nobody else has done it.
I'd say they'd be pretty happy with their run earlier during this practice session where they put their car in the 3rd spot. Can he do any better?
Oh.
Not that time. It was a 16.758. His best lap in this session so far is a 16.555, which is just behind Connor Jones, who's in 2nd.
Now, we saw this car out on track a little bit earlier, a little bit different paint job. New sponsor for Hunter Robbins, Palisade Build on Trust, sponsoring his Toyota. Of course, living here in the Pensacola area now. He's the Southern Super Series champion for 2022.
He knows how to qualify here. He's been on the pole.
You know, you talked about Sammy Smith and his 22 car a little bit earlier, and he had an opportunity with Kyle Busch Motorsports last year, their super late model team back in 2020, and we really didn't see the results. And I think a lot of folks were like, does this kid have it or not? But boy, in the last couple of years has he shown it, and his future is very bright.
Bubba Pollard back on track. Bit of a different paint scheme for him this weekend. Good look for this car. Bubba Pollard, I believe a 2nd year in a row with the Port City chassis here at the Derby.
And always love seeing that TM Ranch logo on the nose. Of course, that came about from his association with the late David Rogers, who a couple of years ago became the all-time leader in starts in the Snowball Derby. Broke Red Farmer's record, and Red will be here this weekend as the Grand Marshal on Sunday.
14th out of 49 on that lap for Bubba Pollard. Decent
for him.
First effort, yes.
Yeah, I'd say for him that is a very stout effort.
Yeah, he's only turned 3 laps during this practice session. Matt Craig back out in the 54 car again.
And Bubba is one of those guys that does not show his hand. And, you know, a few years ago when they were struggling a little bit, we saw him outside the top 40, and we were like, he's going to get it. He's going to get it. And I think they've approached practice a little bit different the last couple of years, and you're seeing it, and you're seeing it in the result.
Connor Mosack, saw him briefly earlier in this practice session.
I get that. You said briefly. You know his sponsor?
It's underwear. Nick Taylor, custom fit underwear.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Finished 4th in Trans Am T2 points this year. Had a win at Watkins Glen.
And Dustin Smith back out in car number 33. Again, fastest right now is Eric Jones, a 16.410. Connor Jones, no relation, in 2nd, the 44 car. And Stephen Nasse, he's got to be impressed with that lap. I think the Nasse fans got to be excited to see him in the top 5 in practice. Josh Berry 4th, Johnny Clark 5th. Good run for Clark there. Ty Majeski hanging just outside of the top 5 in 6th. Blaine Rocha 7th. Noah Gregson 8th. Ryan Luza 9th. And Austin Nason rounding out the top 10.
And as we take you around here with Jake Finch, if you've never watched Snowball Derby qualifying, the key number is 30. You want to get locked into that top 30 so you don't have to run the last chance race tomorrow afternoon. That last chance race at times has been boring, but at times it's been very treacherous and very interesting, and that is something none of these drivers want to do. Tonight we'll be joined by our Pepperjack Kennels pit reporters Ryan McCullough, and glad to have Eric Hienfeld back with us, and they are going to describe and capture some of that emotion, because you don't see a bump day in the Indy 500 anymore. Qualifying for the Daytona 500 is exciting, but no real big threat of not making the race. That's not the case here with the Snowball Derby.
I think one of the cool stories from last year was this guy, Jace Hansen, in the 08. Made his first Derby appearance. He made a lot of starts at Five Flags Speedway, traveled a long distance many times to race here during the 2021 season just to get the experience to maybe give him a chance to make the Derby, and he did. He's back this year, and right now he's 20th quick.
Finished 16th in his Derby debut last year as Michael House back on track. See if he can get that one car back up towards the top of the board where he was yesterday.
30th right now in this session, but yesterday was in the top 10 for overall times. watching final hour of practice for the super late models for the Snowball Derby presented by Hooters. This is their final chances to fine-tune the cars to try to lock into the top 30 in qualifying that happens tonight at 6 p.m.
There's the 10 of George Gorham Jr., the Blackburn Southern Barbecue Chevrolet from Winter Haven, Florida. He finished 8th in points this year at Citrus County Speedway, and I was surprised to see this is his first attempt at the Snowball Derby in a super late model. We've seen him here in the Outlaws, and he's ran well, but hoping to make the Snowball Derby. He is really tough on the bull rings here in Florida and trying to prove it here on the big stage.
Gorham currently 38th. Derek Kraus in the 9. We see him each and every year down here at the Snowball Derby. He's made several starts in this prestigious race, and he's back on track, looking for more success in this event. That's what he wants. He's been able to make the show. Now it's a matter of putting it all together and finishing toward the front at the end.
He's only managed a best finish of 15th, but that's a great-looking car for him. Shockwave Marine Suspension Seating sponsoring that machine for the Wisconsin native.
21 years old. He's made 7 Snowball Derby starts already, but 15th is his best. So you know he wants to just get up there and better himself, get up in the top 5, give himself a chance. A young driver that we've seen down here a couple years in a row now, Daniel Dye.
Yep, the Curb Records, Halifax Health Race to Stop Suicide Chevrolet from DeLand, Florida. Finished 2nd in ARCA Menard Series points this year. 11th in Southern Super Series points, and even bigger for him, his success with Petty GMS Racing has led to an opportunity, a full-time Truck Series ride, and now I could say it and not sound dumb saying it, Craftsman Truck Series ride, the new returning title sponsor of the Truck Series in NASCAR.
Daniel Dye 16th right now in practice for this Friday afternoon.
There's Gio Ruggiero on track again. You know, we're happy to provide you this sneak peek into some of the events here at Five Flags Speedway during Snowball Derby weekend. The weekend's main events are available on a pay-per-view basis at racingamerica.com. In order to watch the Snowball 100, in order to watch the Snowflake 100 and the Snowball Derby, I was just making sure you were paying attention. Log on to racingamerica.com and purchase your pay-per-view coverage today.
And just to confirm, it was well written, but not as well read.
It was definitely not well read.
Jesse Love in the Mobile 121.
Yeah, that is a great-looking race car for Jesse Love. Two-time ARCA West Series champion. He finished 3rd in the ARCA Showdown points, which is kind of a combination of the ARCA East, West, and ARCA Menard Series races where they bring all of the drivers together. And he was 3rd. And again, we say it so many times, but there's so many talented young drivers. And you know, how many derbies is this for you calling radio and TV now?
13.
And you think over the last 13 years, the drivers that we've seen here, Chase Elliott, Harrison Burton, Ryan Blaney, I mean, you could just go through, it would, you know, take a couple of minutes just to read the list of guys that have raced here and moved up into one of NASCAR's Big 3 series.
Just about everybody we've seen that has gone on to NASCAR has come through the Snowball Derby at some point or another in the last 13 years.
Yep.
I mean, the young drivers is definitely a place to turn some heads, and guys like Chase Elliott, I mean,
Yep.
It was like he was the threat to win, and he won the Snowflake from the back of the field one year in a 100-lap race.
And, you know, Connor Jones, we've talked a little bit about him. He's 2nd fastest right now over on our kickoff party at Hooters Tuesday night. He's a late model stock guy. He's a Virginia guy. You don't see a lot of super late models up in Virginia. I said, what you know, made you decide on this path? And he said, when you look at the guys who make it, they're super late model race car drivers. And I think pairing him with Derek Thorne is I can't think of anybody better to pair a young driver with.
Watching from home this year, hopefully racing there next year. Robbie Taylor.
Yep.
Like an outlaw car?
Yep. Robbie, we hope to see you here. And don't forget, throughout the weekend, Tweet your seat using hashtag Snowball Derby. We'd love if you also tagged Racing America. But when you tweet your seat, let us know where you're watching from, and we'll try to read some of those tweets on the screen here throughout the weekend. And once again, for all of us here with Racing America and Five Flags Speedway, we are so appreciative of you watching our coverage here from Five Flags. I'm Alan Dietz along with Adam Mackey. As we said, Dave Moody will be here with us tomorrow, and we'll hear from Ryan McCullough and Eric Henefeld tonight during our qualifying, and just glad that we can be here once again to bring you this coverage.
Down to the final 5 minutes of this practice session for the Snowball Derby presented by Hooters. There's Derek Thorne back out. Remember, he came out for a qualifying run just a little bit ago, was way sideways down in turns 3 and 4, and he ended up putting his car in 11th where it still sits. Can he move up this time? Derek Thorne across the line. He has moved up to 8th that time. Eric Jones still the fastest.
Watch this one. That car is not moving off of that yellow line, and I think he is going to move up right here.
To the stripe, Derek Thorne stays in the 8th position.
But that was a little quicker.
It was quicker than his previous lap.
He moved up in time, but not on the chart.
Does this change who we think is going to end up on the pole for the Derby this weekend?
Absolutely not.
Okay. So we're expecting to see 4 years in a row of Derek Thorne starting from position number 1. That's a lot. With this field of cars,
I will say this, and I've said
I do agree with you. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
I've said it many times. The last 2 Snowball Derbies, Derek Thorne has led over 530 of 602 laps. That's 85% of the laps. Enough said.
Bubba Pollard back out. He's qualified into the top 10 in a number of derbies. I know this because when I go to get audio of the top 10 the next day, he always looks at me and shakes his head. He's like, man, I qualified the top 10. Now I've got to talk again. Do the introduction, but Bubba Pollard in the 26.
14 starts, hoping to make his 15th. I don't think that'll be a problem, but has only managed a third-place finish as his best finish back in 2017. But it's not for not having the fastest car. I mean, there's been several years in the last 10 years where he was in the exact same boat as Derek Thorne, Ty Majeski at a time where they were clearly the fastest car all weekend, and for whatever reason just couldn't quite get it all together after that last pit stop to finish it off and get the win.
Pollard still 14th after that run. Jacob Gomes, the Californian, looking to make his first Derby start. Again, has made a couple of attempts, and this might be his best chance. He's right now 22nd quick in speed today, but giving it another go in practice, final practice before qualifying.
There was a last chance race a few years ago. I think it was back in 2014, and it included Jacob Gomes, but you had Travis Braden, guys like Augie Grill. It was unbelievable, the guys that were in that last chance race. And Jacob just barely missed out on making the Snowball Derby that year. And as you said, hopes that he can put it all together to do it in 2022.
Still 22nd as he goes by the line that time. Most drivers using this practice session to fine-tune their cars for tonight's qualifying. And I think temperature and conditions going to be very similar. There's no sunshine right now, so when it's dark at 6 o'clock, that's not going to change much, and I think the temperatures aren't going to drop a whole lot either. You had what when we came on today? You had 66 degrees, and we look at the temperature for tonight coming up at 6 p.m. when they get on the track to qualify. We are going to be looking at a temperature of 64 degrees, so very similar.
The issue, though, and it was something that I didn't understand completely the first time that I came here, but it's something that we'll be watching tonight during qualifying, and you're very well aware of it, is if the dew comes in. And that's why, you don't want to go out early because the racetrack doesn't have any heat in it. You don't want to go out too late because that dew may set in. And there's almost like a time period right there in the middle where it all kind of works out, and that's where you see the fast times at. But throughout the night with our cameras down there, we're going to be looking in those back windows to see if we start to see any of that dew settle in, because pretty much, and again, tell me if I'm wrong, but once that dew sets in, very rarely do you see a guy go out there and lay a time down that's going to be a pole run.
Takes just enough grip away. It's going to be impossible to
Just
set a pole-type run. And they always used to talk about it would happen maybe between qualifiers 11 and 20, where it might set in with that 6 o'clock start time. Now, I don't think we've seen it in a few years, and I don't know, with very little temperature change today. In fact, it's going to warm up as the night goes on. I don't think we'll see it tonight either.
Well, we are here at Five Flags Speedway in Pensacola, Florida, enjoying Snowball Derby practice, which is just wrapping up now prior to Snowflake 100 practice for the Pro Late models. I want to welcome our friends watching on the Racing America 24/7 channel on connected devices. Alan Dietz here along with Adam Mackey, and glad you're able to join us here for this Snowflake 100 practice. Adam, we're just finishing up here for the Super Late models. Give us a rundown of where everybody settled out here prior to this last practice before qualifying tonight.
Former Snowball Derby winner Eric Jones is fastest, 16.410. Connor Jones, Stephen Nassy, Ryan Luza, and Josh Berry rounding out the top 5. Then it's Johnny Clark 6th, Ty Majeski 7th, Derek Thorne 8th, Blaine Rocha 9th, Noah Gregson rounding out the top 10. In practice, we'll talk some more about those times when the Snowflake cars hit the track for their final hour of practice, coming up in just a moment on Racing America.
Five-star bodies, the most advanced bodies on the market, aerodynamically engineered, manufactured from the highest grade and lightest weight materials, tested tough for optimum performance. The highest quality and most durable products you'll find anywhere. Our products help racers around the world reach victory lane. Winning never looked so good. Faster, lighter, stronger, better. 5-star.
Hooters and racing go together like killer wings and ice-cold beer. Racing has been at the core of Hooters' DNA from the beginning. Whether it's backing the best drivers or serving up the best food on race day, race fans know Hooters is the real deal. Big screens, great food, good times. Hooters, the official home of race fans.
Women owned and manufactured in South Carolina, PFC Brakes is the #1 choice for motorsports, fleets, auto manufacturers, and first responders. PFC delivers the best brakes on the market, guaranteed to outlast and outperform the competition. If you're looking to win at the track or reduce downtime for your fleet, or just need more stopping power when towing your boat or trailer, look no further than PFC Brakes. Visit us at pfcbrakes.com to find your local PFC Brakes distributor today. PFC Brakes are bred to win, from the track to the job site. No compromises.
Welcome to the new home for race fans, Racing America. Live short track racing. Exclusive team content.
Any NASCAR fan is really a short track fan at heart.
Behind the scenes access. From grassroots to NASCAR, join us at the home for race fans everywhere. Racing America, it's in our DNA.
Welcome back to Racing America's exclusive coverage of the 55th Annual Snowball Derby week here at Five Flags Speedway in Pensacola, Florida. Alan Dietz and Adam Mackey here with you. Just finished up practice for the Snowball Derby Super Late models. And there you see the Snowflake 100 Pro Late models lining up down on pit lane as they get ready to go for their final practice session. Unlike the Super Late models, which will qualify tonight at 6 p.m. Central on RacingAmerica.tv's pay-per-view coverage, these cars will actually qualify tomorrow afternoon, right about this time. But tomorrow's actually going to be the warmest day of the weekend, so I think track conditions will be similar but I don't think they'll be exactly the way they will be when these cars qualify tomorrow afternoon.
You're looking at 66 degrees right now. They qualify tomorrow afternoon. It's going to be mid-70s and sunshine. Probably a little more sunshine tomorrow, so it could bring up the track temperature quite a bit more than what we see right now. We talked about the top 10 in Snowball Derby practice. Some of the guys that might be in some trouble outside the top 30 in that practice today.
Well, you know what? Actually, let's go from 25th.
You want to go from 25th because that puts them close, right?
It puts them close.
Derek Griffith, 25th. Carson Quapple, 26th. And Griffith wasn't fast in yesterday's practices either, but he's done this enough where he can probably find that little bit extra later. Casey Roderick, 28th in that practice. Matt Craig was 29th. Michael House, 30th.
George Gorham was 31st. Back behind him was Casey Johnson. Albert Francis, 33rd. Connor Mosak, 34th. Boris Yurkovic was 35th.
Look at Jesse Love in 36th. Brad Keselowski, 37th in today's practice session. A lot of these drivers turning around 7 or 8 laps in their
Augie
practice.
Grill right there, too.
So, snowflake cars, pro late models rolling to the racetrack now. And again, tomorrow they will qualify. Top 30 will lock in their qualifying runs as well. Single car qualifying coming up tonight at 6 for the Snowball Derby. 50-plus competitors trying to lock into 30 spots, and just about 50 competitors tomorrow trying to lock into 30 spots for the Flake.
You know, I had a question on Twitter last night about the differences between a super late model and a pro late model. These cars very similar. Unlike the Snowball Derby, these drivers won't be allowed to change tires during their race unless they have a flat. And the biggest difference really is the engines. I'd say, about roughly 150 less horsepower maybe than the super late models.
Yeah, they don't have the get up and go coming off a turn like the super late models do, and more of a momentum thing for these pros than the supers. You lose a little momentum in these pro late models, and it's hard to get that momentum back. And that's why sometimes you see them take wider arches into the corners, wider arches out, because they're trying to stay in the throttle as much as possible, not kill the car on the bottom lane. Where a super late model, they can recover quickly if they get off the gas because they have a little more horsepower behind them, and it makes a big difference, and it makes a big difference in speeds obviously as well. But other than that, you're right, the car is very little difference.
And I think the biggest thing with that and the momentum is it forces these drivers maybe into some tighter spots in that they don't want to get out of the gas. And then that's whenever you see some contact and bad things happen. And, you know, I think the worry this year is there's so many first-time drivers, not only with the super late models, but especially with these pro late models, that the worry is some of that inexperience may lead to some accidents this year. Will it? We'll find out tomorrow.
We had some people talking about first practice yesterday for the Snowflake might be rough because of all the debuts, the rookies that we see here, the young drivers. That was not the case, so far so good.
Yeah, and I mean overall with any of the practices, we've seen very few problems in any of the divisions as we have gone through a few of the cars that are out there. The first one to talk about will be this 18 of Ryan Paul, Ernest Performance, McCarran Services, the sponsors on this Ford out of Mobile, Alabama. Best finish in the Snowflake, a 5th back in 2016.
Yesterday in overall practice for the Snowflake, Casey Roderick was quickest. Bryson Schaffer from Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway was second quick. Mike Hopkins was third, Derek Thorne was fourth, and Brent Cruz was fifth. And there is the number 15, Sharp car for Mike Hopkins.
Hopkins making the trip down from Herman, Maine. He was the 2019 past national champion and finished 7th in the Snowflake last year.
Quickest car right now, the number 7 early in practice is Jackson Boone, former champion at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. Jackson Boone yesterday 30th. Today trying to do a little better.
Had a great year in the Kawicki Driver Development Program. Ran super late models primarily, finished 7th in Southern Super Series points. And when you think Jeremy Doss, this is the paint scheme and number we associate him most with, 75.
It's right behind the 0 of Glenn Stiers, and he's having a hard time getting around him. This is probably uncomfortable for Jeremy Doss. Glenn Stiers had a fire on that 0 car yesterday. And earlier today, backed it into the wall in practice. Right in front of him was Brad Arms in the 3. He also had a practice crash today, but neither were severe enough to keep him from running. They're back out in this practice too.
On track now, the Hub International Chevrolet out of Kennewick, Washington, for Brittany Zamora, now living in North Carolina. Two-time Northwest Super Late Model Series champion and racing on the East Coast this year. Finished 4th in Show Me the Money points at Montgomery this year. Her first attempt here in the Snowflake, and look at that, P1 17-187 for Brittany Zamora, making that 3-car effort for Rackley War Racing happy, I'm sure.
It was 25th quick yesterday's practice. Colin Allman in car 67 on track.
Race Car Engineering, the sponsor on this, Ford out of Plant City, Florida. Finished 5th in Alan Turner Pro Late Model points this year, 3rd in the Snowflake 100. And, you know, he has been racing a little bit more. Another driver, kind of like Connor O'Kresick, that had been attending college, played on his college baseball team. And Colin is a driver that I see getting better all the time. And I wouldn't be surprised to see him maybe pull out a win here. Speaking of pulling out a win here, Johanna Long Robbins here in this Chevrolet, the 2010 Snowball Derby winner. Her best finish in the Snowflake 100 is 7th back in 2012.
But she's won the Derby. First one I was here back in 2010. She's using a number 10 on the car here. Johanna Long Robbins.
You know, one of the, maybe the only major late model race in the country that has been won by 2 female drivers. She won it, as you mentioned, back in 2010, and back in, 1994, Tammy Jo Kirk was the winner.
Joanna Robbins right now 3rd quick. Dustin Smith hot laps his pro late model. We saw him on track in the Super earlier.
And, you know, this may actually, we got to double check. He actually had, Dustin Smith has been feeling ill. He ran the Pro Truck race last night, and we'll double check. Zach Evans is here in the tower with us as to who was driving that car earlier, with Dustin Smith having the problems and going to the hospital earlier today to be checked out. And it was Logan Boyette, of course, Logan, a local racer here that we've seen in Trucks and Outlaws. You're watching this broadcast on Racing America, and if you're joining us for the first time, there's a lot more to see. Log on to racingamerica.com to get all your favorite racing news, grassroots live streams from across the country, and behind-the-scenes NASCAR Cup team content. Log on and join our community today.
Saw the 00 of Cale Gale for a moment. Good to see Cale back racing here at the Snowball Derby weekend, racing with the Flake.
8th quick, too.
Decent run there. We've had now 20 drivers on track for this final practice session for the Snowflake on Friday. They'll have some track time tomorrow. Then they have qualifying, the last chance, and the Snowflake 100 coming up tomorrow night. The Alan Turner Snowflake 100 here at Five Flags Speedway. The show that has been over the years as well. A short distance affair at 100 laps compared to the 300 we'll see on Sunday afternoon. And again, they will lock in 30 cars tomorrow in qualifying at 3 p.m. Central Time, just as we do for the Supers tonight.
Now, with the changes that we talked about with Gio Ruggiero moving over to Donnie Wilson Motorsports, that car number 81 this weekend being driven by Casey Broderick, Platinum, S&S Enterprises, and Cook Electric sponsoring that Toyota.
Yeah, these two teams seem to have quite a few different changes this weekend. Tough to keep up with, but we'll have it right after watching all the laps here today in practice, yesterday, qualifying tonight, tomorrow, and then all of the feature racing still yet to come this weekend.
We talked about the 2 ladies who have won the Snowball Derby. How about the 2 ladies pacing our practice right now? Brittany Zamora and Johanna Long Robbins right now 1-2, as we're still here in the early stages of this Snowflake 100 practice. And the 7-car Jackson Boone has been quick. He's 6th quick right now. Another driver that we expect to run well. This is the Benton Baker Chevrolet of Evan Shotko, Coopersville, Michigan.
Shotko, one of the drivers from the west side of Michigan, over in the Berlin Raceway, Kalamazoo Speedway areas, making his debut here for Snowflake 100 action. 19 years old is Shotko.
Another driver that's part of the KDDP program this year, Quickie Driver Development Program, and won that championship at Berlin and just had a great year. Right now back in behind Casey Roderick there in the 81.
Definitely right now showing some speed, closing in on Roderick. Maybe Roderick was just getting set up for his qualifying run as he kind of pulls away now from the 22. Shotko will pull pit side. Let's see what Roderick can do.
Hey, Evan Shotko third quick right now.
Yeah.
We'll see what Casey Roderick lays down.
Fifth quick that time by the line. I think he might have one more quick lap coming up.
Look here at Twitter, our friends over at Petty GMS Racing. Eric Jones all smiles as he tops the final practice session before Snowball Derby qualifying. Petty GMS probably going to be really happy. Noah Gregson fast too. Our friend Alec Jorgensen tweets the best seat in the house. That's the Hooters Big Tent, where at 5 p.m. Central Time, if you're in the area or watching here around Pensacola, come on down and join us. Jess Ballard will be down there. Going to be joined by guests like Dave Moody, Travis Braden, and more. That'll be at 5 p.m. Central Time at the Hooters Big Tent with a special episode of the Bull Ring Live.
Jeremy Miller in the 5-car veteran from the upper Midwest, and the 24 with a different driver behind the wheel, Brent Cruz. And Brent Cruz right now 6th quick, and it drops down to 7th because Jeremy Miller has moved up into 4th fast. Jeremy Miller, veteran in car number 5 racing, looking to make his first Snowflake 100. It's his second try, but missed it on his first attempt.
And for you Casey Roderick fans, we were mentioning that he was going out to look like picking up speed to try and lay a good lap down, and boy did he. Right now he's third quick as we see McCauley in that 62 car a little bit sideways in front of Brent Cruz. Cody McCauley in the 62. There's a good look at the McCauley Motorsports machine from Semmes, Alabama.
Just his second race of the year. Raced as the 2021 Montgomery Late Model Sportsman Champion.
I'd say you'll probably see Cody a lot to Show Me the Money series next year. There's the fastest car. Well, it was the fastest car. She's dropped down now. Second quickest car, Brittany Zamora. Trevor Cristiani now on top of the board and keeping that West Coast vibe strong. Idaho and Washington right now, top 2 times.
Christiani was quick yesterday as well. 6th quick yesterday in overall speeds was Trevor Christiani. There it is, the 90 car going down pit road.
And again, we've seen him on our Northwest Super Late Model coverage, also some of the bigger pro late model races at Wenatchee and Magic Valley and State Line. Tandy Marlin here in the 103. Town and Country Ford, longtime sponsors over there. Cars at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway and 103.3 FM as well.
39th in overall speeds yesterday out of the 50. Now make it the 45. We're on track for practice in Thursday, Snowflake practice, so looking for speed is Tandy Marlin.
Not qualifying, but out on practice right now to get ready for qualifying. This is the Quick Response Toyota out of Charlotte, North Carolina for Dylan Capello. Works on the championship-winning Truck Series team of Zane Smith. Coming out to race here this weekend.
8th quick right there for Capello. Decent first lap run. And there's a quick car from yesterday. Bryson Schaffer was second in overall speeds on Thursday for the Snowflake 100. What can Bryson Schaffer do?
Finished 4th in points this year at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway in their Pro Late Model Division. 10th in the Show Me the Money series at Montgomery.
He was a Rookie of the Year at Nashville a year ago after moving up from Legend Cars, where he was very successful. Young driver.
Oh, new guy up on top now.
Dylan Capello.
Yeah. We just saw that 11 car out there. Here's a car I expect to run well based on what we've seen all year in these pro late model races on the East Coast. This is the Hunter Industrial Warshocks Ford out of Lebanon, Tennessee for Dylan Fetcho. Took his second pro late model championship at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway this year.
And he's moved to P1, and right behind him is his buddy Bryson Schaffer.
Wow. Good.
P1 and 2.
Yep, good run right now for those Nashville regulars.
Did you see how high he took it into turn 1 there and kind of just slingshot it across the bottom of turn 2 and off?
And we talked about how strong he's been in pro late model racing this year. Won a championship at Nashville, won the Baby Rattler at South Alabama earlier this year, and won the Allen Turner Pro Late Model Championship at Five Flags this year. That's a pretty big triple header of accomplishments.
There's the Cataldi 00. Anthony Cataldi, car 00, one of 2 00 cars we have here this weekend. Cataldi from Florida, 27 years old.
Good lap.
He's made 3 starts, his 4th try. Finished 3rd in 2017 in this race.
He's 3rd quick right now, and we'll see if he can move up the board on the 2nd lap.
Leland Honeyman.
Yep.
Making a start this weekend. Has had some success with ARCA, running in the ARCA East Series, finished 3rd in their standings. Has the help this weekend of Travis Braden.
Yep. '19 winner helping him out, and that car has shown speed both days.
Yeah, in fact, quick right now. Leland Honeyman, fastest in this practice session. We haven't seen him race much with late models. We don't, we get to see him with the stock cars of ARCA, but really do not get to see him race with late models much, and so very impressive run there for Leland Honeyman.
Right there, a look at Connor O'Cressick. If you like what you're seeing here, check out our 24-hour streaming channel. Some of you might be watching there right now on connected devices like LG and Vizio, and streaming apps like Tubi and Zumo, with over 15 hours of live racing contact per week. Contact sometimes. And original content from the short track and NASCAR racing communities. Racing America TV is your racing fix at home 24/7 on your TV, and you see some of those places where you can watch Racing America channel.
What channel are we watching right now?
I don't know, because it's on so many different places right now.
Which one to choose from? Jeremy Doss in the 75. We saw Wes Griffith Jr. for a moment in the 33 car.
Something else I'll tell you about Racing America channel. The only place and first place that you could watch live racing on connected devices like that.
Now there's plenty to choose from.
Yep, more and more all the time.
Jeremy Doss, 16th quick for the California driver in snowflake practice. He's turned quite a few laps, 15 laps on track for Jeremy Doss right now. We'll see how that ranks among others. He's up there, 8th in number of laps completed here during this session.
He won the Spears Pro Late Model Championship last year, dominated, had 9 wins before moving back up to the Southwest Tour. Another West Coast guy on track now, the Rackley Roofing Chevrolet of Jake Bowman from Huntington Beach, California. Finished 6th in points at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway and had that huge win, All-American 400 weekend.
Bowman, one of the drivers, using a snowflake scheme for the weekend.
Boy, we're seeing a lot of fast times getting laid down right now. First car down in the 16-second bracket, Gavin Graham. Car number 70 now with the quick time, 16.912. Leland Honeyman, second fastest. Dylan Fetcho, Jake Bowman, who we were just watching, 4th quick, and Wes Griffith Jr., 5th fastest.
I was talking to Wes Griffith Jr., one of the elder statesmen with us here this weekend. Driver 55 years of age, and he had some good runs with the ARCA CRA Super Series for several years, finished in the top 5 in their standings for a number of seasons, I think 4 seasons in a row. Speaking of elder statesmen, Augie Grill in the 112, multi-time winner of the Derby and the Flake, is on track right now.
That's the Grand American Race Cars City Auto Sales Ford out of Hayden, Alabama. 3-time winner of the Snowflake 100. And Augie Grill just went to 9th on the board, so showing speed in that Pro Late model.
Definitely a lot of changes as this session goes on. The super late models, we saw a few changes here and there as we got a little battle going on for real estate down in 3 and 4.
Yep, Jeremy Miller there moving past the one Ryan Fleming. First time we've seen Ryan Fleming today. Man out of Cedarville, Ohio, raced in the Ohio 300 series this year. That was a series of 4 late model races, 3 at Shady Bowl and 1 at Killcare, and he had a 5th place finish at Shady Bowl.
Ryan, son of Don Fleming, longtime racer in Ohio. Ryan, kind of Shady Bowl, Killcare, Columbus area driver.
Now, Adam mentioned earlier, that's Glenn Stires who had that fire yesterday. He's from Oshweek, Ontario, Canada, and doing a lot of dirt racing. Doing it on the pavement here this weekend.
One of our multi-22 cars here this weekend, competing at the Snowflake 100. Dylan Courtney.
Called Citronelle, Alabama home. The place where you find no mosquitoes.
Makes sense.
That would be Citronelle Love.
Yeah, it's close enough.
Yeah. Hey, here's one of the guys you'll see on the bull ring a little bit later on tonight, 5 p.m. Central Time, or live at the Hooters Big Tent. Kyle Stickley in the APC Auto Parts Chevrolet, another driver from Ontario. Won the APC championship this year, had 6 wins. Also had the Trek championship at Delaware Speedway in Canada.
Gavin Graham still fastest in this session. He's only turned 3 laps. His second was the best, a 16.912. Leland Honeyman second. Augie Grill third. Dylan Fetcho, Jake Bowman rounding out the top 5. The rest of the top 10, Wes Griffith Jr., Bryson Schaffer, Anthony Cataldi, Connor O'Kresick, and Dylan Capello. Some of the drivers may be outside the top 30 to keep an eye on. Jolyn Wilkinson right on the bubble in 30th. As we have a number of drivers that haven't been on track, about 10 of them in fact. So not too many drivers outside of the top 30 that may kind of stand out as surprises at this point.
Looking at Tandy Marlin now, we were just watching Casey Roderick see what that 81 turns on this lap, and if that gets him back in the top 10, not right now. Tandy Marlin in the 103, he's down on the time sheet, back in 33rd.
Jim Wall, 23rd, that time by, but it was his first lap. This is going to be the one that could move him up much higher on the list. He was pretty decent yesterday, 14th in overall speed. Jim Wall, this time by the line, yes, moves up to 12th.
And we've seen Jim a lot in that Cross-Eyed Owl Brewing Chevrolet from Madison, Alabama. Finished 3rd in the Show Me the Money standings at Montgomery this year. Best finish of 12th in the Snowflake. That came last year. He moves up to 7th now. And as I said, he seems like every year he gets a little bit stronger. That's a sharp-looking car.
Very good-looking car. This one is quite plain but quite fast for Wes Griffith Jr. Again, Griffith, 6 quick, the driver from Indiana. Jeremy Doss back out, continues to log some laps. I think they could be working on some race run stuff too. He's turned 17 laps during this practice session, still fine-tuning it for today, tomorrow's qualifying and tomorrow night's race. Colin Allman in the 67. Gavin Graham in the 70, still on top of the board, 16.912. Leland Honeyman, Augie Grill, Dylan Fetcho, Jake Bowman rounding out the top 5. Now we are happy to provide you this sneak peek into some of the events here at Five Flags Speedway during Snowball Derby weekend. The weekend's main events are available on a pay-per-view basis at racingamerica.com. In order to watch the Snowflake 100 and the Snowball Derby, log on to racingamerica.com and purchase your pay-per-view today.
And I want to reiterate, I say it every time, but when you purchase your pay-per-view coverage, it's just like purchasing a ticket for the event. It goes back to the racetrack, not just to Racing America. You are contributing. You are helping out. You are helping push this event.
Well, there's no question. It's made this event, just took it to the next level. And people from all across the U.S. 10 years ago, we didn't have that ability. You might have had a little radio or something. When I first started coming down, you could hear the audio coverage of it. Now you could actually see the TV coverage, how far we've come over the years.
This race 20 years ago was not what this race is today. And it all happened, well, I don't want to say all happened, but, streaming radio and streaming video had a big part in helping a lot of other folks that maybe didn't get a chance to come here to Five Flags Speedway, see what was going on. And, man, the crowd we had here last night, and again today, I have not been coming quite as long as you, but you don't normally see cars lined up down the road on Friday. That's something you see a lot more on Sunday. So a big crowd here, a big crowd going to watch at home, and we're just glad that we can be a part of bringing it to you here on Racing America, thanks to our friends at Hooters.
Johanna Long Robbins in the 10 backs it down. She had a decent run earlier in this practice. She's since fallen to 15th because of all of the other competitors that have come out to make their mock qualifying runs, getting them set up for tomorrow's time trial session, which is at 3 p.m. Central Time here on Racing America. I think you're seeing the final couple of laps here before we take a break during this 1 hour session. Tandy Marlin backs it down. There are the cars on pit road. Work continues on the Supers and the Pros. We still have another half hour left in this final Friday practice session for these Alan Turner Snowflake 100 cars.
And that's the fastest car right there, the car number 70 of Gavin Gray. And right now, track taking a couple of minutes to clear the gates. That'll give us a chance to take a quick break, and we'll be back with more Snowflake 100 practice after this.
Hooters and racing go together like killer wings and ice-cold beer. Racing has been at the core of Hooters' DNA from the beginning. Whether it's backing the best drivers or serving up the best food on race day, race fans know Hooters is the real deal. Big screens, great food, good times. Hooters, the official home of race fans.
The debut of the NASCAR Cup Series at Worldwide Technology Raceway in 2022 was nothing short of spectacular. 3 incredible days of fun. The Confluence Music Festival with some of the biggest stars on the planet. A pre-race spectacular like no other. A packed house of enthusiastic fans. And now it's time to plan on making it even bigger and better in 2023. It's more than just a race. It's a festival of epic proportions.
The Enjoy Illinois 300, presented by Ticket Smarter. A fun-filled, family-friendly midway with music, games, interactive displays, and the greatest food selection in sports.
NASCAR Weekend returns June 2nd through the 4th, 2023.
Just 5 minutes from downtown St. Louis in Madison, Illinois.
It's time!
SRI Performance and Stock Car Steel are your all-inclusive motorsports warehouses with more than 450 product lines. They have everything to put you in victory lane, from professional racing to street performance. SRI and Stock Car Steel have you covered with leading brands as well as a large selection of steel, aluminum, and plastics. With locations in North Carolina and Indiana, access has never been easier. SRI has the world's largest inventory of used parts. SRI Performance and Stock Car Steel and Aluminum, your one-stop shops for everything racing.
Glad to have you back here with us on Racing America for practice for tomorrow's Snowflake 100 for the Pro Late models. Alan Dietz and Adam Mackey here with you this afternoon. Of course, don't forget, 5 p.m. Central Time tonight. Special live bull ring from the Hooters Big Tent here at Five Flags, and then it'll be time for Snowball Derby qualifying at 6 p.m. Central Time, followed by the Mods of Mayhem racing for 75 laps, all still to come here on Racing America.
Snowball Derby, first time in years, not making the trip. Watching from Michigan, Michelle Young. Sorry you can't be here with us, but you're kind of still here with us watching the coverage on Racing America.
That's what we were just talking about, and we appreciate you joining us today. And if you haven't ordered your pay-per-view coverage, make sure to do that. You can watch everything and tweet your seat. Use hashtag Snowball Derby. Let us know where you're watching from, and we'll try to read your tweet here. And also, if you can tag Racing America, that'd be lovely.
See some more pro late models lining up. Dylan Capello, one of those. As we get ready to resume practice for the Alan Turner Snowflake 100. This is their final practice of the day. And then tomorrow, of course, the all-important qualifying at 3 o'clock. They will have another practice tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. That will actually get us started for on-track activity for a Saturday. Yet to come today, more modified action for the Modifieds of Mayhem 75 tonight, which you'll be able to see after our qualifying for the Snowball Derby presented by Hooters. That's at 6 o'clock. Pre-race festivities right before 8 o'clock for the Modifieds of Mayhem 75. And we're going to have a good time watching that one here tonight.
Hey, you know, we talk about how important Snowball Derby qualifying is tonight, but I think the Snowflake qualifying tomorrow afternoon is equally as important, because if you don't make it into that top 30, then you've got to run a last chance race right after qualifying to try and make it into the main event. I think that adds a ton of pressure and a ton of stress on these drivers and teams. They want to get locked in so they don't have to worry about that last chance qualifier.
Dylan Capello, who was pretty decent in the first half hour of this 1 hour long session, 12th right now, leads the cars back to the green to get going again for the final 20 minutes plus.
Yeah, a lot of cars came out late in that session because Dylan had gone to the top of the board and, as Adam said, knocked down to 12th. I Love Mac and Cheese Chevrolet on track now from Oak Grove, Alabama, of Chase Spradlin.
I wish they had one of those locations in Pensacola. I don't believe they do. I would like to try it out.
You love mac and cheese.
I heart mac and cheese. Absolutely. The Roos race team with locations of I Heart Mac and Cheese. That's why they're sponsored by that. They actually have some locations themselves. Chase Spradlin in the 89 car here in this Pro Late model. Oak Grove, Alabama.
There's Ryan Fleming back on track now. And as we mentioned, you saw the Ohio 300 races this year on Racing America, and glad that Ryan was able to make the trip down from Ohio.
He had never even seen this track in person before this week, so no experience, no practice leading into the weekend. Had not even been here as a fan. As Evan Shotko in the 22 gets back on the track, and let's see where Shotko move his car to. He had a decent run earlier, 5th right now.
Yeah, he looks good right now in this car number 22. It's been a great year for him, part of the Kawicki Driver Development Program. He's been fast. He won that championship in a lot of races at Berlin. Leland Honeyman in this car number 9. Second quick under the tutelage of 2019 winner Travis Braden. He's another guy I saw start out in Bandoleros and keeps climbing that ladder.
I don't know he's going to be able to pick up much more speed than what he's done. Maybe just getting some extra track time to fine-tune and tweak on some things on that car. But Honeyman's second quick behind Graham. as practice continues for another 20 minutes or so for the Alan Turner Snowflake 100.
You know, we talked about the Kawiki Driver Development Program. Remember, you can tune in to RacingAmerica.com Wednesday, December the 14th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern for the Kawiki Driver Development Program Championship Banquet. All 7 finalists will be recognized, including this year's champion Dylan Zampa. Join us live from the Speedway Club at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Coverage begins at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, only on Racing America.
28th quick is Kyle Steckley in this 22 car.
Strong up in the APC late models in Ontario this year, and that's a good touring series up there. The APC late models in Ontario, got the American Canadian Tour in Quebec, and the East Coast Trucking Pro Stocks in the Maritimes. Casey Roderick back on track now, here in the car number 81. Two-time Alan Turner Pro Late Model champion here. Best finish in the Snowflake. Third way back in 2008.
Casey Roderick trying to move into the top 10. They'll have more track time. We'll see more qualifying runs tomorrow morning, I would guess, for that early session. Or do you do your qualifying runs now and then tomorrow morning work on the race setup? But
I think if you're a guy like Casey Roderick, some of these faster cars that we've seen today, I think tomorrow maybe you do get into some race runs. You'll have track conditions maybe a little bit more like they'll be in the race. And I wouldn't be surprised if some of these teams are doing just what you said.
Jim Wall in the 91 has moved into the top 10. He's currently 9th in this practice session.
There's Augie Grill back out in the 112. Right now, 4th quick. And I will tell you, we've seen enough of Augie Grill over the years. If he's this fast on the time charts, that could be really bad news, because we've seen him race really well, and it was based off nothing that we had seen time-wise in practice.
Augie Grill, 4th fast in this practice session. He did that on his 4th lap. He's turned 8 laps since then. Still logging some laps here during final practice for a Friday. Again, have one more session yet tomorrow morning to get them ready for tomorrow afternoon's qualifying and the evening festivities of the Alan Turner Snowflake 100. This Sharp car, one of my favorite paint schemes of the weekend. Mike Hopkins in the 15 has also been pretty fast. Mike Hopkins yesterday was among one of our quicker competitors. He's kind of fallen down the chart a little bit here as of late, but Mike Hopkins has a good chance to put it back in another Snowflake 100.
I like Augie Grills too, just behind him. Retro paint scheme, of course.
Look out. There's a lot of liquid down in turn 3.
Lynn Steyer's going around. There was a car down on the bottom at him.
Yeah, he put out a lot of liquid going into turn 3. You could see it trailing the car, and hopefully everyone does get slowed down before they get out there. It's fortunate there weren't many other competitors on the track at the time, or we could have had some tore-up race cars down in turn 3. Pretty sure plenty of liquid was trailing the 0 of Glenn Steyer's, and it's not been a good couple days. Yesterday, car catching on fire. Today, backing it into the wall, and here, liquid pouring out of the machine as it entered turn 3, and he spins in his own liquid, takes it down onto pit road.
And sometimes you just can't, you just have those weekends where nothing goes right. And it doesn't matter if you're an inexperienced driver or if you're a guy who's raced here for 20 years. We've seen snowball weekends where fate just is not good to you, and it's been a struggle for Glenn Steyer's and this team out of Ontario.
One thing we were talking about earlier was the difference in temperatures between qualifying and practice, what we're going to see tomorrow. And Rich Lucius, winning crew chief of the Snowball Derby in the past, actually said, the flake cars are also an impound race. so there won't be much difference in race trim. So that's one thing that is a little bit different
That's a
from
good
what
point.
you will see with like the Snowball Derby and qualifying on Friday and racing on Sunday.
Well, you see the Mods of Mayhem cars lined up. They'll be practicing here in just a little bit right now. Track cleanup going on after that fluid being dropped by Glenn Stiers. Gives us a chance to take another break, and we'll be back with the conclusion of Snowflake 100 practice when we return.
Five-star bodies, the most advanced bodies on the market, aerodynamically engineered, manufactured from the highest grade and lightest weight materials, tested tough for optimum performance. The highest quality and most durable products you'll find anywhere. Our products help racers around the world reach victory lane. Winning never looked so good. Faster, lighter, stronger, better. 5-star.
Hooters and racing go together like killer wings and ice-cold beer. Racing has been at the core of Hooters' DNA from the beginning. Whether it's backing the best drivers or serving up the best food on race day, race fans know Hooters is the real deal. Big screens, great food, good times. Hooters, the official home of race fans.
Women owned and manufactured in South Carolina, PFC Brakes is the #1 choice for motorsports, fleets, auto manufacturers, and first responders. PFC delivers the best brakes on the market, guaranteed to outlast and outperform the competition. If you're looking to win at the track or reduce downtime for your fleet, or just need more stopping power when towing your boat or trailer, look no further than PFC Brakes. Visit us at pfcbrakes.com to find your local PFC Brakes distributor today. PFC Brakes are bred to win, from the track to the job site. No compromises.
Welcome to the new home for race fans, Racing America. Live short track racing. Exclusive team content.
Any NASCAR fan is really a short track fan at heart.
Behind the scenes access. From grassroots to NASCAR, join us at the home for race fans everywhere. Racing America, it's in our DNA.
Back here with our coverage on Racing America at Pine Flag Speedway in Pensacola, Florida, presented by Hooters. Alan Dietz, Adam Mankey, closing in on the final few laps of practice for the Pro Late models for the Snowflake 100. You know, just got a text, a tweet, I should say. First timer here at the Snowball. Anything I really need to see or do? Eric Jones, Noah Gregson, Daniel Dye, Petty, GMS. If you had a Twitter, you could actually tell Joey what he could do.
Well, he must be watching our broadcast, right?
Yeah, but
to know to tweet a seat.
But he wants to go somewhere.
Okay. Well, I mean, there's plenty of things to do here. Mainly be at the racetrack for a lot of hours.
Zach Herrig is watching. He's in Michigan, rooting for our local guys, including Evan Shotko in the Snowflake 100, and Evan looks to have a pretty good shot.
Yep, 7th right now in overall speeds. At Racing America, watching Snowball Derby from their recliner with his dog Eli, Matthew Corbett, letting us know where he is.
Hey, Gary Ballou, 112, hashtag Snowball Derby, says Kathleen.
Do you know that's a winning car right there behind him?
Yep, and if you're here at Five Flags Speedway, you can actually see that car from when Gary Ballou won back in 1980. When was it?
81?
81. That's the car from 1981, or 1980, excuse me.
Go.
And then he went on to win it for a second time in 1986. That is the actual 1980 winning car. Molly says, got my blinders on this week. Hashtag Snowball Derby. Thanks, Molly, for watching. Hope you're listening, too.
She's got her blinders on.
Be sure to tweet your seat throughout the weekend. Use hashtag Snowball Derby. Let us know where you're watching from, and we'll try to read your tweets on the air. You know, I also want to say got a very nice text just a few minutes ago that DJ Vanderlei is going to be watching tonight's coverage here, the Snowflake 100, Darren and their entire family. And we want to remind you to go to MRO.com/donate to contribute to VDL Strong and DJ Vanderlei. Finished second in Snowball Derby to Chase Elliott a few years ago. Got involved in a just horrific accident back about a month or two ago in Texas, driving a micro sprint, and we want to help them out as much as possible. So go to MRO.com/donate and be sure to help out DJ Vanderlei and their family, as they've got a lot of medical expenses, and we want to see him get better and hope he can be back here with us at the Derby next year.
That race where he and Chase raced for the victory, you could flip a coin with who was going to win that over the last 20, 30 laps. What a great race it was. One of the most exciting derbies over the last 10, 15 years, and they've all been pretty good.
Well, it looks like the track cleanup is almost complete. There you see where the speedy dry was laid down, and the officials are going to look that over. And these guys are probably not going to have a lot of laps here in this practice. Only 10 minutes left scheduled, that is. So we may see a burst of activity when these Snowflake cars come back out. Want to remind you, if you're here at Five Flags Speedway watching our coverage in the campground, or if you're coming, don't forget you can tune in 5 p.m. Join us in person or watch here on Racing America, the Bull Ring Live with Jess Ballard. She's going to be joined by lots of guests. We'll hear from Dave Moody, who will be on the call with us Saturday and Sunday from MRN Radio, and lots of the competitors as well. That'll be the Bull Ring, 5 p.m. Central Time from the Hooters Big Tent here at Five Flags Speedway.
You got some wings down there to hand out during the Hooters Bull Ring?
Not me, but I do understand that the world-famous Hooters girls are going to be here on site.
Tell them to bring some wings with them,
They probably will, and they're going to be doing some calendar signings. You can go to area Hooters locations and purchase a calendar, and they'll be doing a calendar signing Sunday, I know, so can't wait to have those folks here with us as these Pro Late models head back out, led by the 75 of Jeremy Doss.
And it was oil. Report from the track crew, oil down in turns 3 and 4. It was put down by
Glenn Stiers.
The zero of Stiers. So definitely a tough couple days for the Stiers zero. Jeremy Doss, Bradley Arms in the 3, Colin Allman 67. Some of the drivers coming back out, and they may not learn a whole lot over the next 8 minutes of this final practice if track conditions have changed much down in 3 and 4.
I was thinking exactly the same thing. But luckily these drivers are going out there and they're going to help run in the rest of this speedy dry here and get the racetrack clear. Now at the top of the hour, our coverage is going to end here. For those here at Five Flags Speedway, they'll get to see Modifieds of Mayhem qualifying. We'll be back at 5 p.m. Central Time for the Bull Ring. Then you and I'll get to be joined by Ryan McCullough and Eric Henefeld, our Pepperjack Kennels pit reporters, for Snowball Derby qualifying. And when that concludes, then we'll turn it over to the track PA, the very capable hands and voices of Robbie Harvey and Bill Roth, as they'll call tonight's 75 lapper for the Mods of Mayhem.
And we will sit back and watch as we did last night with the 3 features.
That's right.
Going to run
to be too loud laughing.
We'll try to be professional.
There's the 62 car. And that car number 62 being driven by Cody McCauley from Alabama.
A lot of first-timers when it comes to the Derby and the Flake this weekend. About close to half the field in each of those races making their debuts. Cody McCauley in the 62, a 27-year-old. He's the 2021 Late Model Sportsman Champion at Montgomery Speedway, so definitely capable. There's Bradley Arms in the 3. Driver from Tennessee is Brad Arms, Greenbrier, Tennessee, veteran. He's got Tyler Miles crew chiefing for him, a former racer himself.
He had an issue here during that first practice this morning. Nothing too major, and they've been able to get that 3-car back out.
Car's getting ready to pick up the pace a little bit, working through the drying agent down in turns 3 and 4, trying to make sure it's in good shape. There's the Courtney 22 machine.
Let's check out real quick while we do have a minute and give you an update on where everybody stand here in these final few minutes. Gavin Graham into car number 70, the only car in the 16-second bracket, 16.912. There's the second fastest car, number 9 of Leland Honeyman. Ryan Paul in the 18, third quick. Mike Hopkins, 4th, and Augie Grill, 5th. Dylan Fedchow, 6th quick. Evan Shotko, 7th fastest. Jake Bowman, 8th. Wes Griffith is 9th, and Jim Wall, 10th. Not that it's out of the realm of possibility, but there's a good chance that is where the top 10 will end up.
We'll see if anyone's able to step up there in the final 5 minutes or so of this practice session. Gavin Graham, quickest we've had. Taking a look at things now, 38 of the 48 drivers on track. Some drivers practiced in the earlier session today, decided not to come out in this final session. We saw that as well with the final session for the super late models, where a guy like the 24 William Byron didn't come out. Eddie Van Meter didn't come out in that final practice session for the super late models.
Looking at Boston Oliver here for the first time today, the Potter Brothers Joe's Truck Lube Chevrolet from Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
Boston Oliver, a rookie pro late model driver at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. Another competitor that moved up from the Legends class. Those two divisions at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway, the Legends and the pro late models, are very strong.
Dylan Capello back on track now. Well, you know, the thing I love about Nashville, among many things, I know a big vote going on this week, is it looks more and more likely that there's going to be some major renovations there, thanks to the folks at Speedway Motorsports, and that possibility of one of the big 3 series, if not all 3, returning to Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. But there are not a whole lot of racetracks in the country that you could go to and watch a quarter-mile race and a race on a 5/8-mile racetrack in the same night, and you can do it there at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway.
It is cool, and I like the quarter-mile racing. It's definitely a lot different than the 5/8-mile. It's rough and tumble, and they're all trying to get to the bottom lane, and it makes it pretty exciting, as there's Honeyman again.
They've got some really strong reinforced chrome bumpers on a lot of those cars.
It's definitely a flat quarter mile that they race on with the lower divisions, like the late model Sportsman, the street stocks, pure stocks, front runners, Legends, Bandoleros. It's the perfect size track for many of those divisions, and then the pro late models and pro trucks get to run the 5/8s on a regular basis.
And I know you and your counterparts at Track Enterprises have been involved there the last couple of years, and to see the All-American 400 back where it's at, and the possibility of NASCAR returning. Nashville just such a hot city right now, especially in motorsports. You got the Nashville Super Speedway, the street race with the Indy cars there at Nashville.
Definitely a place to go for racing, and I think part of what makes it so fun for everyone to go there is you get to go to Nashville, which is a tourist destination, and enjoy racing at the same time. So there's the best of both worlds. Plenty of things to do when you're not at the racetrack, and then you go to the races and have a good time there.
And it's very close to downtown Nashville. As we see Elliott Massey on track now. And we go back now to Jeremy Doss. He's still out there. Dylan Capello's still out there.
Looking at our top 10. Gavin Graham, Honeyman, Ryan Paul, Mike Hopkins, Augie Grill still the top 5. Dylan Fetcho, Evan Shotko, Jake Bowman, Wes Griffith Jr., Jim Wall, the rest of the top 10, winding down the final minutes of practice for the pro late models for the Alan Turner Snowflake 100
And knock on wood, if you're watching our coverage, it is very overcast here, but relatively no chance of rain. I mean, less than 10% chance of rain this evening. So,
great forecast pretty much all week that we've dealt with. A little cooler yesterday and today than what we will see the final 2 days, with temperatures in the mid-70s the next 2 afternoons. Anthony Cataldi's 00. Again, a former top 3 finisher, and the snowflake is Cataldi.
And you know, Sunday is going to be so much fun. We got our pre-race show coming on before we go green with the Snowball Derby. You'll be down there for driver intros. And then yourself, Dave Moody, Eric Henefeld, Ryan McCullough will be able to call the action for you in the 55th Annual Snowball Derby. And then we'll have our post-race show take you all the way down to find out who officially is the winner of the Derby.
Boy, Sunday's a ton of fun. You know, they kind of cut back the actual pre-race show down on stage, moved it up an hour a couple years ago.
And it's been great.
And it's starting a little early. You get out of here, the sun's still up. It usually doesn't end under the lights anymore. We've seen some end close to under the lights here. And then plenty of time for them to go over the cars with a fine-tooth comb over in tech. Jarrett Butcher in the 54, one of the drivers from Canada. Cole Butcher, his brother, running with the super late models this weekend. Jarrett running with the pro late models.
Yep, he finished 6th in the East Coast International Pro Stock Series. Best finish of 2nd at Scotia Speed World in Nova Scotia. That car out of the Donnie Wilson Motorsports stables.
Jarrett just inside the top 30, 28th right now.
There you see the 25 of Jake Bowman back out on track, and we do understand that Five Flags officials are going to give an extra 5 minutes to these pro late model drivers due to the time that they lost with that oil down over in turns 3 and 4.
Good looking ride there.
Yep, great holiday themed paint job. Be in the running for the Horvath Designs Best Appearing Car. There will be a Best Appearing Car for the Snowball Derby cars and for the Snowflake 100. Here's Alex Gwinnett, the Oxmoor Ford from Terrebonne, Quebec, Canada. Ran a very limited schedule this year in the NASCAR Penny Series and still had a big win at Trois-Rivières. And plans to run full time in the NASCAR Penny Series next year.
Had his hands full.
He did.
All the way through turn 4 and down the front straightaway to Gwinnett.
That's a team car to the super late model being driven by Noah Gregson in the Casey Jones stable.
Overcast skies today, cool conditions, which is good for super late model competitors when they were practicing earlier. Should be very similar conditions, I would think, at 6 o'clock tonight with temperatures right about the same. It's going to warm up during the evening hours, actually. The race time temperature for the modifieds is as warm as it is now.
You know, one other thing, we hit on it just a little bit earlier, but when we see these pro late models back on track tomorrow and the last chance races for the Snowball Derby and the Snowflake 100, it's going to be the hottest it's going to be all weekend, and that could make this racetrack very slick. And again, I think that's what makes qualifying so important for the Snowball Derby tonight at 6 Central here on Racing America, and then tomorrow afternoon here for these Snowflake cars.
One of our 4 cars getting a chance to come out, and look out. Oh, this is a spin over in turn 2.
Yep, that's Andrew Grady, young man out of Knightdale, North Carolina. Finished 19th in cars late model stock standings. This is his first ever drive in a pro late model and his first time here at Five Flags Speedway. And he was pretty fast in practice yesterday. I guess he found the edge.
They're right to the edge, right closing in on the final moments of practice here. Grady was 22nd, so he's locked, right there in the top 30 where you kind of want to be for the actual qualifying runs for tomorrow. Grady yesterday was fast, decent, as you mentioned, as well, for very little experience in pro late models.
Out of the Mike Darn stables, I watched his dad, Tony Grady, race a long time, really tough at Southern National and Coastal Plains, and ran the UARA Stars Late Model Stock Series, and Andrew following in his footsteps. No problems, didn't make any contact with anything.
As you see the modifieds rolling forward, that is the end of practice for the Snowflake, the Alan Turner Snowflake final practice for this Friday.
Again, we're happy to provide you this sneak peek into some of the events here at Five Flags Speedway during Snowball Derby weekend. The weekend's main events are available on a pay-per-view basis at racingamerica.com. In order to watch the Snowflake 100 and the Snowball Derby, log on to racingamerica.com and purchase your pay-per-view today. Remember, we'll be back at 5 p.m. Central Time at the Hooters Big Tent for a special episode of the Bull Ring Live with Jess Ballard. Adam and I will come back at 6 p.m. Central Time for Snowball Derby qualifying, to be followed by the Mods Mayhem Racing for 75 laps. So for Adam Mackey, I'm Alan Dietz saying so long for now. We'll see you back here in just a little bit at Five Flags Speedway.
Five-star bodies, the most advanced bodies on the market. Aerodynamically engineered, manufactured from the highest grade and lightest weight materials. Tested tough for optimum performance. The highest quality and most durable products you'll find anywhere. Our products help racers around the world reach victory lane. Winning never looked so good. Faster, lighter, stronger, better. 5-star.
Hooters and racing go together like killer wings and ice-cold beer. Racing has been at the core of Hooters' DNA from the beginning. Whether it's backing the best drivers or serving up the best food on race day, race fans know Hooters is the real deal. Big screens, great food, good times. Hooters, the official home of race fans.
Women-owned and manufactured in South Carolina, PFC Brakes is the #1 choice for motorsports, fleets, auto manufacturers, and first responders. PFC delivers the best brakes on the market, guaranteed to outlast and outperform the competition. If you're looking to win at the track or reduce downtime for your fleet, or just need more stopping power when towing your boat or trailer, look no further than PFC Brakes. Visit us at pfcbrakes.com to find your local PFC Brakes distributor today. PFC Brakes are bred to win, from the track to the job site. No compromises.
Welcome to the new home for race fans, Racing America. Live short track racing. Exclusive team content.
I bet, that's what they all say. Any NASCAR fan is really a short track fan at heart.
Behind the scenes access. From grassroots to NASCAR, join us at the home for race fans everywhere. Racing America, it's in our DNA.